Good morning, and welcome to Who Am I? The show that asks the questions: Who am I? Who are we? What is humanity? Where did we come from? Where are we going? How does it work? Who am I, especially in reference to source energy, and I don't mean to be, what's the word? What I do mean to be, rather than saying what I don't mean to be. I do mean to be humble about this. I really do. The reason that I come into this space and do this is because I believe that humanity can do better. I I think that we're amazing. I think that we're fantastic and wonderful, and that we could solve all of our problems and live much happier lives if we understood better who we were. I would like to help that along by sharing what I know and inviting people to look into their own consciousnesses and their own systems and find their miraculous and wonderful. I think that a better understanding of source energy helps us better understand the situation that we have been born into, which I believe is blessed and magnificent and really, really super cool. And a better understanding of that will bring us to two places. One is just better lives, like I said, better lives, happier lives. We can do better. But specifically, our energy systems need to shift. And I believe that a true deep dive understanding into source energy, the mathematics, the physics, the even the psychology, the wholeness of it will help us all to get off of fossil fuels and on to better sources of energy. We could have done it 100 years ago, except we couldn't have done it 100 years ago because we don't know who we are. I believe that that's why we didn't, not because it wasn't physically possible. Um, I'm going to, as always, post a link to the movie uh, The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. It's a documentary documenting the history of over-unity devices and their ruthless suppression, why they were ruthlessly suppressed, how they were suppressed. The notion of UFOs, extraterrestrials. I think that that's being kept secret mostly because they are demonstrating energy systems that we do not have. When you watch them move, you might scratch your head and go, huh, look at that. We can't do that. They aren't carrying around their supply of fuel. This is a light device. Look at how it's moving. We can't do that. Anyway, I also, if you have watched my show at all, you will know that I believe that we are genetically modified. Now, I don't think that that's a deal breaker if you don't believe it. I think there's still a lot that you can get out of this show if you disagree with me on that one. And it's okay. But our design is still what our design is. And I think that a better understanding of our design can help us on so many different levels. And so I, I want to talk about it. I find it interesting. I now, if you listen to me often, you know that I quote often. I refer often to Nassim Haramein and his unified physics, and I hope that he does not mind me invoking his name. I hope that he doesn't think that what I add to this discussion is actually going to make it harder for people to believe the physics of what he's saying, that the mathematics actually works, that he has unified the quantum world and its densities and behaviors, and the cosmological Newtonian conventional physics world and its mathematics, its densities, and its stuff. Um, I will refer you also to a series found on Gaia, and you can find some episodes of it. I don't know that you can find all of the episodes of it. I know you can find the first episode of it. It's called Quantum Revolution. It's 12 episodes, and it in great detail discusses just the overall setup of unified physics, the spinning nature of matter, the everything is spin. Let's see what are the other episodes. Um, Hold on a second. So the episodes of the Quantum Revolution series are the science of a unified universe, the fullness of space. That's talking about the pixelation of the quantum field, which is made of these Planck um, fluctuations, these little Planck oscillators, and the space around you that looks like empty space isn't empty at all. It's absolutely solid pack full of these um, little Plancks. Another episode is spinning space time. How space spinning, spin is fundamental. That is very helpful in understanding both mass and gravity, by the way. Holographic universe theory. That's another episode because the universe is holographic and that matters. Entanglement in the holographic universe. That one explains how everything is entangled and everything is everywhere. The four fundamental forces, new model of the Big Bang that explains how universes come into being through Hawking radiation, by the way. Little Plancks from universes spin off because they are black holes, and Hawking radiation is a thing with black holes. Spins off, hits another density, boom, explodes into a Big Bang. A little Planck that's really dense because it's coming from a different density universe. And these scales, the way they work, let's see, complexity in a conscious universe, life across the universe, evidence we were never alone, revolution in technology, quantum revolution for the world. Those are the 12 episodes I would absolutely recommend this series if you want to take a deeper dive in what I am trying to say with my perhaps inadequate words. I'm trying to express to you the math has been done. We can get off of fossil fuels. We can plug our devices directly into source energy. It's theoretically possible. It is absolutely possible. We can do it. We just need to work on it. And then combined with an understanding of general over-unity devices that have been in existence for the last 100 years. But every time one surfaces and the inventor goes to the patent office, well, something always happens to that device, and sometimes things happen to the inventor of the device. That needs to come to an end. If you have a little study of the general woes of humanity, both from a psychological viewpoint, so both from the viewpoint of the five kleshas, which from Buddhist philosophy are considered to be the root causes of all suffering, both looking at it from this point of view, as in when you don't understand who you are and you don't understand what reality is and how it comes into being, it causes suffering. It causes you to misidentify yourself. Who am I? Who am I? Who I am is the quantum field. I am a morphogenetic field. I am made of Plancks. I am made of Planck oscillators. That's what all of my atoms, my protons, my atomic structure is all coming across the event horizon of the 0-point energy field as particles. And I am not alone in this. I am co-creating this with all of the rest of the universe. I am one with the one field. Now, I started this by saying, I hope Nassim does not mind me invoking his name, because I have been using the words, we create our own reality. And I watched a show of his yesterday. It was just a YouTube video. He was on somebody's show talking to them about unified physics and the nature of reality and all that, as he is wont to do. And he specifically said, you do not create your own reality. And what he means is you don't create your reality all by yourself. You aren't creating a separate reality from everyone else. But you do create your own reality. But that reality is being created because of this. And there was I'm going to quote this, so let me go find it really quick. Somebody had a comment that I thought was really good in reference to this. I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, never mind. I'll just use my own words. So, what it is, what's very unique about what you are doing has to do with the way you are perceiving. The way you're perceiving the universe is unique to you. And in your unique perception, you are taking your own very unique cues off of the reality that you're experiencing, and how you're looking at it and how you're feeling about it is contributing to the vibrational offering that you are offering to the universe. You are offering a signal to the universe. You are a thermal engine burning at about 100 degrees for your entire life. Your heartbeat is producing an electromagnetic field that you can actually measure with pretty conventional equipment that you could probably buy at Lowe's. Now your brain is also producing an electromagnetic field. This one is a little more subtle, a little harder to read. You would probably need it's a magnetoencephalogram. It's a reading taken off a device that sits outside your head and reads your brainwaves. But the electromagnetic field that your brain is producing is not as strong as the one that your heart is producing. But the two of them, they're combining. It's a very unique signature you got going. It's a vibrational offering that you are outputting to the universe. You are a transmitter and you're a receiver. And the frequency that you are broadcasting on, it happens to also be this frequency that you are receiving on. It's the same. So if you're on the Henri channel, then the Henriness is pretty much what you're reading back. Your emotions have a great deal to do with the signal that you were giving. And based on the vibration that you are offering to the universe, you are getting impulses from the universe about acting. Now, that was all kind of pretty messy the way I said that. Please forgive me. I'm sure in the future I will be able to put this more succinctly, more clearly, less confusedly. A lot of people already know where I'm going to with this, as far as, you're broadcasting and you're receiving on the same frequency, and this is affecting the impulses that you're getting from the universe, how you're reading those impulses. It's affecting then how you act. It's affecting how you rendezvous. It's affecting what you rendezvous with and what your timing on it is, and who you are co creating with, and upon what frequency you are co creating with them. So, in a way, you are indeed creating your very own unique reality with your very own unique perceptions about it. However, I don't mean to imply that that the reality, the unique reality that you are creating, is not embedded with and co-creating deeply with everyone else around you. We are all in this together. We are all doing this together. And you could think of the whole picture as being every one of our unique universes all added up. Each and every one of us is just shedding our own little piece of light on our own little piece of the grid. And the whole picture is what we all share. The whole picture is what we are all co-creating in this magnificent morphogenetic field that we are all part of, that we are all made of. And so we ask the question humbly, who am I? Who am I? And how does this work? They expect me to know what to do about politics, to understand what to do about my fellow man who might be acting up, who might be murdering his fellow human beings, who might be in despair, who might be suffering, who might be hungry, who might be insane. There's all kinds of things going on with all of us, all around us. And what is my real message here in this show where I come and ask, who am I? I want to know who am I so that I can live my best life. And I want to help us all get there too, because we're all in this together. Your neighbor is your unknown self made visible. And that's the truth of that. So it looks like, I just looked this up, it looks like that quote comes from Khalil Gibran's Little Book of Love. And actually, he's attributing this quote to Jesus. Your neighbor is your unknown self made visible. Your neighbor is your better self wearing another body. Very interesting. I like that. So we are a single morphogenetic field, and when I say you create your own reality, I don't mean that you create a whole a universe that is it is unique. Your own internal universe is unique to you. However, it is embedded within the universe of everyone else because we are all co-creating this together. And so when I ask the question, who am I, and seek to find that answer and explore the meaning of that answer, I'm doing it not just by myself. Isn't that funny? So what's my point? What's my point, and what would I seek to aim? Or seek to aim, that doesn't sound right. Aim to discover or accomplish? What would I seek to accomplish? How about that? Well, like I said, on the one hand, I think that us knowing who we are is a vital ingredient to us getting to the next stage of um, our evolution as human beings. And the next evolution of our human beings involves us drawing our energy source from a different place, not from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, this is coming from a clunky outside understanding, not knowing who we are, just taking it for granted what we have been handed down for the last 100 years. We have to do this because we've always done this, and all of the infrastructure has all been designed for fossil fuels, and so we just can't do anything else. Sorry. I think that our consciousness needs to rise about who we are. That's why we didn't get off fossil fuels 100 years ago when we could have started. So Nikola Tesla, he was a special human being, and he had an understanding that in order to understand the world, the universe around you, you needed to think in terms of energy and frequency and vibration. And it's true, we are vibrational beings in a vibrational world, in a vibrational universe. The whole thing is vibrational. It's communicating with itself vibrationally. It's all of source energy is this this everything interacting with everything all the time, this cosmic jiggle of space-time, this cosmic interference pattern that contains all the information. Now, it's way more complex than that. There's screening mechanisms, there's scaling, there's all kinds of organizational um, aspects of this morphogenetic field as it uh, um, as it flows all the data and information across the scales, as this holographic universe communicates with all of itself. And I do say that it is holographic, and it's important that it's holographic. It means all of the information is everywhere, and it's updating every plonk. Now. It is, it's holographic, which means nothing's left out. There, you are not dust in the wind. You are not dandruff on the shoulders of God. You are not. Uh, uh, Everything is at the center of everything, and everything contains all of the information. So I am the whole universe, and you are the whole universe, and everyone is the whole universe, and uniquely so. And this is what I mean when I say you create your own reality. Everyone is iterating the whole universe. You have the whole set of information, and you are iterating the universe authentically. Well, that's the idea. From wherever you are. So I'm the whole universe from here, and you're the whole universe from there. And actually, that's enough of a whole different set of information because it's configured differently. What you've got is different than what I've got, even though I've got the whole thing and you've got the whole thing. And that's how we are so different, and yet everyone is integrally a part of this whole blessed oneness of a universe, this holographic universe that we are a part of. Our understanding of this is going to free us from fossil fuels. Our recognition of who we are and how it works is going to change the game. Another person that I invoke all the time who has never met me, although I was once in a seminar audience of hers. I went to a cruise. I went on a cruise with her and, 1,000 others of us about 4 years ago. It was almost exactly 4 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was 4 years ago. And you know what? I believe today is her birthday. That person is Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks. I am a student of the law of attraction, and I have input her work into my consciousness, and I it speaks to me. When I first heard her body of work, it was just as COVID was shutting the world down, and I spent a lot of the year of 2020. We were by ourselves. We sort of quit interacting with the rest of the world around us. I withdrew into my own space and studied life. I meditated a lot, and I thought about things, and I had just met her work. And when I input her piece of information and believed it, put it in there as this is right, this works, how it made all the information that I already had come to life, how it made it move. I'm like, oh, I get it. I see that. I see that. We do create our own reality. And how I am feeling is my inner being guiding me to trying to guide me to my best self and my best life. And I'm either paying attention to the impulses and paying attention to how I feel, because how I feel about things is really important. When I feel negative emotion, it's actually an expression of me going against my inner being's vibrational guidance, because I am a being who is naturally joyful. We are naturally joyful as um, as vibrational beings, and if we are not feeling that joy, it's because we are. Uh, Now, I like to come in and describe this in my own way, because I've taken what Esther says and I'm like, I understand what you are saying. And what you're implying is that we are a binary being. We are two signals. We are a ground based source energy signal that we can't do anything about. And that signal is pure positive energy. And it is purely um, connected to all things. It knows everything. It knows where we are. It knows what we want. It knows what everything else is doing. It knows how everything's moving. It knows how I'm moving. It knows how and when I would rendezvous with things if I moved this way or that way, because it has a sense of the reality of the whole thing, right? That's my source energy side. It knows everything. It's the reason I believe that these two, oh, excuse me, whack my microphone. The reason I believe that these two bodies of work together is because I absolutely believe that both of them are true. I understand what Esther Hicks, what Abraham is saying about our basic nature. I do believe it. When you input her information as though it was true, it outputs information that jives, that makes sense. And so I do believe her. I understand what she's saying, and I believe it. I believe I have an inner being. I believe that that inner being is um, joyfully co-creating with all of the rest of the universe. And I believe that I have my specific material mind, my conventional mind, um, has a relationship with my source mind. I mean, I am two minds. I am two minds, and if I am blending the two of them uh, uh, with paying attention to how I feel and doing it accurately, then then I feel good, and my impulses are clear and good, and the co-creation that I do with the world around me is mutually beneficial, and get what we want and we're all happy about things. And when I don't do that, when I don't know who I am, and I don't pay attention to how I feel, because my feelings, my emotional guidance system, is my indication of how well I am blending or not blending with my broader perspective. My broader perspective is I believe that Nassim Haramein's work and the mathematics of a holographic universe is explaining why it is possible for me to have a vibrational inner being that is in touch with all things, because it um, it's reading what I call, it's just my own jargon, my own nomenclature, I call it the allness channel. The allness channel is a frequency coming in across all of my atomic structure. And by the way, all the atomic structure of all of the atoms and physicality of everything around me. Every proton in the Planck field of every proton is encoded all the information of all the protons in all of the universe. And it's being updated now, as things change, as things move. It's holographic. It's you have all the information of all the universe. And that's what your inner being is reading. I think of the inner being, the concept of the inner being, as being my vibrational cosmic anatomy that I didn't even know I had. And this vibrational cosmic anatomy is in touch with all of the physicality of all the rest of the universe. That is how I can know, how my inner being can know what I want, where it is, how it's moving, what would get me there. So what's my point? Listen to your inner being. It is speaking to you through frequencies, through vibrational frequencies. And when you listen and line yourself up with it, it feels really good. And when you don't listen to it, when you ignore it and just think whatever thought, no matter how negative, that's when you run into negative emotion territory, and that feels bad. And the reason that it works that way is because when you take a thought, when your conventional, specific, expirational self takes a thought that does not resonate with what your inner being knows to be true about yourself and about reality, then that thought, because it doesn't resonate, it feels bad. It's a different frequency than the frequencies that your inner being is always thinking about what's true about you, about everything around you. You are blessed. You're good. Everything around you is good. It's light. It's hope. It's forward motion. It's anyway, I see the confluence of these two great visions. Now, they don't know me, and I hope that they are not offended by me invoking their names all the time. Abraham, 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 Abraham Hicks, Nassim Haramein. I hope they don't mind. Now, they may look at each other and I have no idea how they think about each other. I do know that I heard Nassim very specifically yesterday say, "You do not create your own reality. If you did, if everybody created their own reality, none of it wouldn't meet. Nobody's reality would meet." Well, we're co-creating our own unique aspect of a reality that contains an infinite number of aspects. It's all of us. Every single one of us is part of the whole. It's sort of like, I like to think of it as, the old story about the blind men and the elephant. And every one of them is standing at a different position near the elephant. And touching a different part of it and declaring that it's like a tree. It's like a a wall, it's like a rope, it's like a snake, it's like a sail, it's like a, is there any more than that? Anyway, they're all right, but they're incomplete. And if you want to understand what the whole thing is, what the whole elephant is, because it has aspects of itself that's like a tree and like a rope and like a snake and sail and wall and all of that. But it isn't any of those things. It's all of those things and more, because it isn't, it's an elephant. And if you want to understand source energy and you want to understand the wholeness of this whole blessed universe that we abide in, you got to add it all up. So I kind of think of that question of source energy and the allness of this great universe as being a question sort of like trying to understand what the elephant is. And the way that you can understand what the elephant is if you add up every single person's perception of it. All of them added together equals the great wholeness. But each and every one of them is a unique perspective. And in that sense, you are creating your own reality, and that reality is you. You are creating yourself, and you are unique. Even though we are all holographic, and the universe is holographic, you're putting it together in your own unique way. Your perception is unique, your impulses are unique, your what you have to add to this great picture is unique and blessed, by the way. We are co-creating this great universe together. And if you understood how much power you have to affect your own experience, both to screw it up and make it difficult, or to smooth it out and make it dance and sing in resonance with the great wholeness around you, it's all up to you. It's all up to you. You have the power to create your own unique experience. I have a pet concept. I call it divine autonomy. And what I mean by divine autonomy, it has to do with manning your own center, getting into the center of your own center and starting a positive momentum and just holding it there. All the power that you have to dance with this universe in a both a mutually blessed way and a maximally blessed way. It's up to you. It's up to you. How good are you at reading the information that you're getting from your inner being? And what, by the way, is this danged inner being I keep talking about? Now, calling it an inner being, this is something that Abraham does, Abraham Hicks. I like the verbiage. I think it's a good expression. I know what it means. So you have this inner being. It's you. It's sort of you connected to the whole rest of the universe. This is the you that is in vibrational concert with all of the rest of everything. It's sort of your link to the holographic. It's the aspect of your anatomy that is in touch with the information of all the rest of the universe. That's why it knows everything, right? So I have come up with this picture. I know that it could be better, it could be clearer. I'm very sorry about that. It's just two apertures of their camera apertures, actually. One wide open and one, closed narrow, focusing in on something. I think it kind of says what I'm trying to say about this. Your source energy mind, your vibrational, your fully vibrational aspect that is in communication with all of the rest of all of the universe, I see as this wide open aperture. Sees everything, knows everything, right? And then you, specific you in your conventional physical body, are the specific, looking in on your life, looking in at specific materiality as you please. This is you in your life. Your conventional mind, your source energy mind. You are two minds. Both of these minds could be thought of as they are vibrational. Your conventional mind is producing vibration. It's producing an electromagnetic field. You can read it with a magnetoencephalogram. You are and your source energy mind certainly is completely vibrational, and it is reading what I call the allness channel, which is that that holographic information field coming through across all of your atomic structure. Now, your source energy mind knows that everything's good, that all is well, that you are made of a formless morphogenetic field that can literally morph into anything, but it has a flow about the way that it does morph into things. There's a momentum to things that start and then they're going on and then they continue. Things don't jump from I'm a sun and now I'm a flower and now I'm a Wednesday. That happens in your dreams, but it doesn't actually happen in physicality. There is a continuum of stuff that is flowing from one thing to another by virtue of certain rules and laws and ways that it flows. You can observe this by observing the cosmos. You can see the lifespan of a star and the way that a planet evolves and orbits, and just all you can see how the flow of physicality. But the one thing about this morphogenetic field is the number one rule appears to be that it's morphing. It changes, it moves. Particles go from here to there, and they go from this temperature to that temperature. They heat and they cool, and they move around, they combine and they explode, and different things. But it's through the virtue of certain rules. And I see the law of attraction and that whole field of study as being kind of the way you can look at it from a human experience, the way that your emotions, for instance, what they are trying to tell you about its guidance about your own movements upon the planet, where what you want is. Because what your inner being is keeping track of is what you want. And what it knows is everything. It knows where everything is. It knows how everything is moving. Because it is in touch with this vibrational aspect of the universe that contains everything, the holographic nature of the whole thing around you. But your inner being, so I've got this picture up, the wide open aperture, think of that as your source mind. This is the one that knows everything, where everything is. And then your specific mind, which is focusing on specific things with you. That's you. You making choices about, I want to look here, I want to look there, I take this thought, I take that thought. And then you have feelings based on what thoughts you take. Why do you have feelings? You have feelings because your source energy mind is thinking things too. And it knows where everything is. And It knows what you want. It knows where what you want is. It knows how what you want is moving. It knows all of these things. And when you take a thought, when you, specific mind, take a thought that does not resonate with the spirit that your inner being knows to be true, those frequencies don't match and you feel negative emotion. That's what your guidance system is. A lot of people don't know what their internal guidance system is. They don't know they have an inner being that is in touch with all things. That's why I believe that religions that emphasize, this is what a perfect religion would be. It emphasizes two things. One, it emphasizes that spirit first. That the most important thing to feel about the universe is vibrational. Spirit first. That feeling of peace, of connectedness, that love, kindness, tranquility, okayness, safety, feeling right in the world, feeling that everything is okay, that the general setup is blessed, and that you are safe and connected to all things, that spirit first and everything else after that, that's a really important thing for a religion to have. Spirit first. And then the other one would be if that religion emphasized a connection between you and that still small voice of your inner being. So religions who emphasize spirit first, and then we talk about gospel, and then the second thing is pay attention to that inner voice, that Holy Spirit, that Holy Ghost, that inner voice, that still small voice. That would be a perfect religion. Now, just go out and interact with the world. However you can, however you feel. And feel it out, because the universe is vibrational. That's how come your feelings are so important. Not your thinking so much, although your thinking and your feeling. This is a system that works together. And you focus thought and emotion. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to care how you feel, because your feelings are a direct indication of how you are resonating or not resonating with your vibrational inner being, who knows everything. Knows how the wind is blowing, how your blood is flowing, what your neighbor is doing, how the planets are moving. It knows everything. And what is it looking at? Your inner being knows everything. What is it looking at? It's looking at what you want. And if you would start looking at what you want, instead of getting all fixated upon maybe what you've got that you don't like, you would flow better. You would impulse better. You would feel better. Your life would turn out better. So I know that this is kind of the message that Abraham Hicks has been trying to convey for the last 35 plus years. Another thing that she's conveying, now she doesn't say she's doing this, but she does it because she's doing it for me. As she gets up, and part of her is Esther Hicks, and the other part of her is Abraham. And the two parts of her don't appear to be, they appear to be quite separate. Esther does not have full access to Abraham internally. I mean, she does, in the same sense that we all do, but she has to go back and listen to the recordings just like we do, because she becomes Abraham and she leaves Esther behind. So what she demonstrates to me as she does this is that we are these two selves. I am these two selves. You are these two selves. She is these two selves, and she demonstrates it all the time. And her Abraham really does know quite a few things. And if you follow her advice, which is to meditate, get in touch with that inner self, quiet your chatterbox surface self in order to get in touch with your broader perspective, vibrational self, feel the resonance, care about how you feel, and when you find yourself in a state of negative emotion, understand what it is that you're experiencing. This is the Abraham Hicks kind of version of the emotional guidance scale. This is giving you a reading of, either how much negative momentum is present, or have you slowed that negative momentum down to practically nothing so that you're up in boredom. That's practically no negative momentum, but there's a little tiny bit there, and you haven't actually started any positive momentum. Apparently, she tells us that your inner being, your broader perspective, your vibrational self, has a positive momentum going at all times. And if you can but slow down your negative mind and get it to be quiet, a natural positive momentum that your inner being and all of the flow of all of the universe around you is experiencing will just start to take hold in you, because a positive momentum is constant. The negative momentum is not necessarily constant. You introduce it, and you can build on it. You can get that negative momentum going. And when you do, you feel just awful, because those two frequencies, the frequency of your negative momentum, of your negative thought, does not resonate with what your inner being knows to be true about your situation, about your nature, about the nature of everyone around you. It knows that everyone is good. I don't care how bad or how wicked or how awful they are acting. They are good. And their acting bad is just an expression of them not knowing who they are and not knowing how it works. And I believe that too. And that's why I come into this space and I do this little show, call it Who Am I? Because I want us all to come to a better understanding of who we are, so that we can interact with this glorious interactive universe more effectively, more productively, and then ultimately, and I say this ultimately, but that other stuff is ultimate. More immediately, I want us to get the frick off of fossil fuels. We can, we need to, we must, because what we're doing now is not sustainable. And literally, when things are not sustainable, you can't sustain them. So that is where I dedicate my prayer, where I dedicate my actions, my service, to this end. I want us to understand better this elephant that we all coexist with, that we are all part of, this holographic universe that is so blessed and so magical. But I say magical in the sense, not supernatural. There is nothing supernatural. The natural is so freaking amazing. It doesn't have to be outside of natural. And the Almighty that I see as the God force, it's not, although it's capable of anything, what it's not capable of is it's not capable of being unnatural. It is this amazing morphogenetic field that can be anything we want it to be. Now, I say that, I don't know how to make anything different from the general setup, which it tends to organize itself into universes, galaxies, and quasars, planets, stars, novas, supernovas, nebulas, atoms, molecules, biology, um, ecosystems, all of that kind of stuff. There's a kind of order to it. And it can become anything, but within the order of how it flows. So that's why I do this show, is to help raise our understanding of what this flow is. Who am I ask. And I ask it from so many different directions. Who am I as the quantum field? Who am I as a biological being? Who am I as a human being, as a human species? Who am I as a powerful creator? Who am I as source energy? Who am I as my inner being? Who am I as this relationship between me and my inner being and all the rest of the universe? Who am I? It's a good question. It's a valid question. And we as human beings are being challenged by situations on the ground right now. Our population is growing. We have going on, I don't know whether we've passed it yet or whether we're just fast approaching the number of 8 billion human souls on planet Earth, and we're not going to stop there. It's not going to stop. We have a certain geopolitical landscape. We have certain facts on the ground going on right now, ways that we interact with one another, things we believe about one another, ways that we extract energy and relate, exchange currency. These petrodollars, which are actually expressions of our energy source. And all the countries of the world pretty much have to monetize if they want to have their share of the technology, the information flow between us, the internet, the technological structure, the access to energy dollars, whether we're expressing it as solar energy or wind power or tar sands or crude oil or whatever, our access to these dollars that we exchange between us allows countries and human beings to tap into the energy that human beings have got going on. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we need an awful lot more than what we've got. And fossil fuels is never going to get us there. Never going to get us there. And the more that we try to extract more and more and more because we need more and more and more energy, the more behind we get in other ways as we pollute the planet and destroy our ecosystems that we depend upon for life. So we're going to need a different way, and the good news is that there is another way. There's two ways to look at it. One is just over-unity devices in general, which we have been taught are impossible, and they're not impossible. They're not impossible. That movie, The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It, which I will be posting again, a link to the free YouTube version of this. I bought it on Amazon. It's not an Amazon production. If it was, I would take it with a grain of salt. It was made by others, and they've put it out for free on the internet, which actually is a really good sign. Open source. It's their whole position in the movie, which is this scenario, this syndrome of mad inventor syndrome has got to stop. This information needs to be open source and out there so that it cannot be suppressed any longer. Nobody is going to make $1 billion and their own private little empire on this information. What's going to happen with this information is it is going to free all of humanity from the shackles that bind us. It's going to, we actually have all the technology that we need to solve all of our problems on planet Earth. What we need is a free, clean, unlimited energy source that can be utilized by any and all human beings everywhere. That's what we need. We don't need any of the other technologies. Well, we need everything. But what I'm saying is we already know how to re-sequester carbon back into the ground. We can do that. But we need energy to do it. And we can't use dirty energy that's belching dirt and creating crap at the same time to clean up the planet. You'll just, you go one step forward, two steps back, and you never get anywhere. We already know how to desalinate seawater. We could make fresh water. We could rebloom our desert. Excuse me. Instead of growing deserts, because our deserts are growing every year. The Sahara advances. And the reason it does is because around all the deserts and around the planet, there are billions of people who have access to no energy at all, no formal energy system at all. They don't have solar, they don't have nuclear, they don't have wind, they don't have oil, they don't have anything. And they need to cook their food, and so they go out into their environment and they cut down wood, they gather and collect biofuels, and burn them, and our deserts grow. But if we could desalinate unlimited millions of gallons of seawater, we'd have as much fresh water as we need. Those pipelines that we're getting so good at building across continents, we could build them and pipe water. Wouldn't that be a miraculous difference? So what we need is a new energy system. We have all the other kinds of technologies are poised and ready to function. There are other things that, because our current energy systems are centralized, our power systems, our geopolitical power systems are centralized. This is what's causing the huge authoritarian psychosis issues. Now, authoritarian psychosis is a kind of psychic condition. It was Carl Jung that called it authoritarian psychosis. Paul Levy calls it Wetiko disease. Our Native Americans called it something like the word Wetiko. Wendigo is another, it's a related term. It's that monster, the Wendigo monster, actually comes from the idea of the soulless human being, the blankness behind their eyes. What it is it's a human being that doesn't know who they are, is not connected to their inner being, is not reading the information that their inner being is giving them. They don't care how they feel. They're in deep negative emotion. They're taking impulses off of that, and they are acting. And it is a very disjointed, disconnected, destructive way to be. As human beings, we all suffer from the propensity to fall into Wetiko disease, or into this authoritarian psychosis, this inability to see that we are all correct in a profound way. Each and every human being is correct in the same way that the blind men were all correct in a way about the elephant. And yet unless you're seeing the broader perspective, unless you're putting it all together and adding it all up, there is no subtraction in this universe of addition. Unless you're adding it all up and seeing the whole picture, you are missing some of it. So all of those old men were both right and wrong, because they weren't. The elephant is not like a rope. It's like an elephant, but it has aspects of it that, yes, indeed, are rope-like. And you know what? That other man over there saying that parts of it are sail-like, and the other guy over there that's saying parts of it are tree-like. They're all right. And the only way you get to the whole picture is if you add everything up. Add everything up. Add everybody's viewpoint up into your own consciousness system, and then see what that all adds up to. And you're going to see it in your own unique way. And everyone's going to see it in their own unique way. And then they're going to iterate and they're going to dance it from their own unique way. And that's what I'm talking about. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I specifically? That's a good question. Who am I in general? That's another good question. Who am I as a species? Great question. Who am I as the quantum field? Perfect question. Who am I as source energy? Great question. And that question is going to lead us to that fulfillment of the other thing, which is a new way of extracting energy from our world. Directly from the source of all energy. It's free. It's clean. It's everywhere. And if you take note in that place in the movie, the idea would be, I think, ultimately, now we can get there little by little, because it's going to take some work in the laboratory to actually come up with the exact technology that is these solid-state devices that can be in every home, extracting energy directly from the source of all energy. Until then, there's lots of good ideas about how to stopgap, how to create over-unity devices that just produce more than they take to run. That would be a good start. So, where am I going to go from here? Here is the abstract for the paper that was written by, and I never say their names right, Nassim Haramein is the first guy on the paper, but then there's Cyprian Guermonprez. I have no idea how you pronounce that name, so I don't usually do it because I hate to butcher somebody's name. Olivier Alero. I think that's the last name. Anyway, they wrote this paper back in September. They published it. It's called The Origin of Mass and the Nature of Gravity. This is the full abstract. And then I always post to my little channel, to my little program, the 37-minute full description of this scientific paper. Now here, this is just an example of screenshots that I have captured from this paper because I find it all very interesting. Every proton is a little mini black hole. And as a mini black hole, it experiences Hawking radiation at the proton core, because all black holes do. There's a mathematical formula for that. Turns out that when you apply it to a proton, as though a proton was a black hole, you realize that it's actually a fairly stable little black hole. It will last approximately 10 to the 35 billion years. That's an awful lot of years. It's a very, very long time. You don't have to worry about our protons deteriorating anytime soon. And probably protons are, well, I just don't worry about it at all, actually. This is just screenshotted. I like this one. the quantum structure of space-time and space-time pixelization. I like the visualization of this. And if you look at this, you can start to see where what we call sacred geometry comes from. And why would it be sacred? It's sacred because it's the geometry that is describing the very nature of reality, how reality comes into being, how matter comes into being, and what the nature of gravity is, too, because I haven't even mentioned this. Our better understanding of the origin of mass and the nature of gravity is going to free us from gravity. It's going to give us gravity control, which is going to allow us to pull our transportation systems up off the surface of the planet. And we no longer have to coat our beloved planet in asphalt and concrete in order for us to move around the planet the way that we want to. We love to move around the planet. We love to move to the other side of the planet. I just barely came back from a trip of a lifetime. We went to New Zealand and Fiji, and it's basically on the other side of the world from where I usually abide. And it was very exciting. It was so interesting to see how other people live, to see what their land looks like, to see what their food looks like, even if I didn't like it as much as some of the food I have over here on this side, to see how they do intersections and traffic and automobiles and laws, and how they handled COVID poorly or good, or just everything. We love to visit each other. We love to go eat each other's food and talk to each other and listen to how we sound different and how we play different. We love to play with each other, and we want to keep doing it. And there is more and more of us, and we're going to want to keep doing it more and more. And the answer to this, to our problems on planet Earth, is not to impose austerity. That's not the answer. And it wouldn't work anyway. The answer is to understand who we are as source energy, so that we can live individually better lives and collectively sustainable lives that will take us magnificently into a glorious future, as opposed to just crashing and burning on this planet right now because of all the problems that we have. I have not spoken our problems, but we have problems like war that just won't go away. That war over in the Ukraine and Russia that has been going on for over 2 years now. The war in the Middle East, which does not show any signs of clearing up. And in America, here we have what looks, it's shaking up to maybe become a civil war on the ground here. I don't know. I don't want to be pessimistic. I know that overall things are always working out for us, and one of the reasons that they are is all of our problems are leading us to a better understanding of who we are. It really is. Falsehood has a tendency to flush truth out of the bushes. That's one of my own sayings. And the more falsehood is forced, the more truth is like, no, but it's not like that, it's like this. The more that the church insisted that the way the universe was designed was one thing, the more it became relevant that Galileo, as he looked through his glass, would say, you know what, that's not what it is. I can see that it is not concentric spheres in perfection revolving around planet Earth. I can see, as I put my glass on the moons of Jupiter, I can see that these moons they're orbiting Jupiter, not Earth. And the more that the church insisted, the more it became relevant and meaningful for him to say, oh, no, that's not what it is, it's this. So the way Abraham would say it is, the more we don't understand things, don't worry, it'll get worse, it'll get bigger, it'll get more obvious. And that's what's happening. Our problems are becoming more and more obvious. And the solutions are becoming more and more obvious when you have eyes that can see. And so that's where we are here. Who am I? Who am I? And what's going on? So what else do I want to mention before I say goodbye today? I do often pull out this little bit. It has to do with an obscure little field of study called cymatics. Cymatics is the study of the relationship between vibration and form. The relationship between vibration and form. Now these right here are cymatic patterns. They are made with some sort of digital device. You pipe a frequency into this device and it produces a pattern. Different frequencies produce different patterns. Every unique frequency produces a unique pattern. And since the universe is made of energy, frequency, and vibration, this is meaningful and relevant. Now, this is more how it was studied to begin with. The man who pioneered this field of study, his name was Haramein, and what he would do is he would take a metal plate and sprinkle a granular medium on top of that plate, like sand or salt or sugar or, iron filings, you name it. Some sort of granular medium on top of the metal plate, pipe a frequency through the metal plate, and lo and behold, a pattern, a coherent pattern would appear in the granular medium. Change the frequency, change the pattern. Increase the frequency, and the pattern becomes more complex. It's actually quite interesting what happens. Now, in the upper right and lower left, you can see that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a metal plate with some kind of medium on top of it and a frequency. That's what those patterns look like. In the upper left and lower right, those are cymatic patterns also, but they are present in natural universe, because this universe really is vibrational. And the reason I pull up these slides is because it helps us to visualize that yes, we do indeed live in a vibrational universe. And so paying attention to the vibrations of this universe is important and meaningful. And you can believe, because it is a vibrational universe, that you could have an aspect of your anatomy that is tuned to the vibrations of this universe. And paying attention to how you feel is tuning into the vibrations of this universe. And caring how you feel, knowing that you are a creature, you are a being unto this universe that's meant to feel good. You're not meant to feel bad. Negative emotion is a function of your binary system. It's a function of your inner being who is always positive, who is pure, positive, vibrational energy reading all of the rest of the universe. It is your connection to the holographic universe. And your negative emotion is you, specific you, taking a thought that does not resonate with what the being knows to be true about the universe. It's as simple as that. When you do that, those two frequencies do not blend well, and you feel bad. It also mixes up the impulses that you're getting from the rest of the universe about how to act. And so when you start taking impulses from negative emotion, have you noticed that when you act in a negative way, that things don't turn out as well? You start pissing people off. You start incurring fines. You start getting thrown in jail. You start getting restraining orders. You start making messes that you have to go around behind yourself and clean up, because you are no longer taking impulses that are causing you to move towards what you want. You are now, because you're operating from not from the direction of your inner being, you are now walking in the opposite direction of what you want. And that's helpful too. Actually, like I said, if you don't get it, you don't see it, you don't understand it, don't worry, it'll get bigger. It'll get bigger. It'll get more obvious. Until finally all of us do understand it and we go, oh, wow, okay, that's the meaning of religion, that's the meaning of emotion, that's the meaning of history, that's the meaning of, oh, I get it. And when I get it, my life gets better. And when my life gets better, all of our lives start getting better. We start inspiring each other to our own alignment. And you know what? Let me try to do something. Well, I'm almost done, so I'm just going to let it go. I am indeed almost done. The one thing I haven't done is talk about the specific setup, the nature of the human mind. This is just kind of a general view of the human mind. I can hear God moving around. Oh, this leads us to a discussion about how we might be genetically modified. I think I'll save it till tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it right there for now. I'm going to come back tomorrow, and in service of the same understanding, we're going to be talking about who am I? Who am I in reference to source energy, so that we can more fully understand who we are and do a better job of going where we want to go instead of continuing to go where we don't want to go. To war, for instance. I don't want to go to war. I don't want to go to war with my neighbor because they think that the authoritarian dictator is the answer to our problems. I know. Anyway, I wish I had closed the accordion door on my hallway. I would feel more safe from intrusion, but I'll just make myself safe by just saying goodbye for now. I have a couple of thoughts to leave us with. One is that we do indeed create our own individual realities, but we do that within this one common one that we all share. And if we would better understand who we are, we could do a better job of creating the future that we're all looking for. And until tomorrow, may the source be with you.